Welcome to Ill-Equipped History, where two best friends tell you a cool thing from history, and we're not equipped to do so. I'm Morgan, joined by my best friend, Emileigh.
Hey, y'all!
Dear audience, I am sick again.
It's happened. She has caught the plague. I think the never-ending plague.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about summer, but it's like as soon as summer hit, it was like viruses. All the viruses.
It's because you work for a school district and they knew you were trying to have fun, while you were, not as occupied as you were. So
I'm not going to get sick when I'm face to face with kids who cough in my face all day. But the moment I'm like, don't leave my house.
Right.
Now I'm sick. Yeah. I literally got sick the day after a holiday.
Yeah. How dare you?
Where I didn't leave my house. I literally didn't leave my house, and then the next day I got sick.
Yeah, you got sick after you left me.
Yeah.
And I'd blame it on the kids, but my kids weren't sick.
No, and that was the week I lost my voice. It was, I don't know what the hell happened.
It's rough.
And then 2 weeks later, I have another virus. 2 in a month.
Oh my God.
I'm very annoyed.
Yeah.
So I get to sound a little extra gravelly now because my throat is raw from all the coughing I've done.
You got your sexy voice on again.
I'm bringing sexy back.
Yeah.
Have you heard how, this is going to be really old when this comes out, but Justin Timberlake was pulled over for a DUI. And then the cop was like, "Who are you?"
The cop did? I didn't know he said that.
So this young cop pulled Justin Timberlake over for driving while under the influence. And Justin Timberlake was like, "I'm Justin Timberlake." And the cop was like, "Who?" And then Justin Timberlake said, "This is going to ruin the tour." "What tour?" "The world tour." It's so fucking funny.
Why did he say it like he's a super villain?
I know.
The world tour.
And then it's come out that apparently this young cop is a menace to the Hampton elite because he keeps pulling them over for driving drunk.
He's just doing his job.
He's doing his job, and he does not. I have a lot of optimism for I'm worried for the next generation coming up, but I'm also not worried because they do not give two fucks, and it's really great to see.
Can I be honest? I'm terrified of my kids' generation. They're wild. They're wild as fuck.
They're gonna be wildin'.
Yeah, seriously, it's a mess in this house already. So
they'll grow up eventually.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm gonna bring us down just for a second. So Speaking of my house, I have a very sad announcement to make. Our beloved background kitty cat will no longer be in the background of the recordings. We had to put him down last Friday.
Oh no. So
he had fluid in his chest, and apparently we just didn't know.
Hey everyone, it's Morgan, and I'm currently editing this episode. I had to edit out about 10 minutes between Emileigh and I. I had missed her announcement to our friend group about Teak, and I was caught off guard by this, so we spent the next several minutes talking about Teak and crying and laughing about how I was completely oblivious to everything. So we worked everything out, but obviously when we come back in, we had been crying. So just wanted to give you guys that heads up of why this transition's a little awkward. Thank you guys for understanding.
Okay, well, should we get into the skit now?
Let's just do the skit. Okay. We'll bring this back up. We'll try to.
We can do it, right? Okay.
Hey, Margaret. I brought corn on the cob. Thanks for hosting this year's party.
Thanks, Lisa. We got a whole spread out back. Marco's on the grill. Anita made her famous baked beans. Our guts will be busting.
Oh, I can't wait. What time is the show?
We're thinking it'll be after 8:30, so it'll be dark enough. Bill went on a shopping spree and spent probably a whole month's salary on supplies, so he's ready.
Are we going to have another show like last year?
Hey, they reconnected Ty's finger. It's mostly functional.
Oh, look, Greg has the beer. Everyone gathers in the backyard for an evening of drinking, eating, and festivities. When it gets dark, the fireworks show begins. Across the United States, people gather to celebrate one of the most popular national holidays, Independence Day, or the 4th of July.
America!
Happy 4th of July!
Happy 4th of July!
Woo! America! 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 America!
Freedom! Insert eagle screeching. I guess y'all figured out what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, today's the 4th of July, so might as well talk about the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Emily, what are your favorite traditions to do for 4th of July?
Well,
I mean, I know what they are, but the audience doesn't.
I'm going to sound very much like my the person I played in the skit today, because growing up, we had a place on the river, the Hiwassee River, and we lovingly called it Foxworthy Village. It's campers with porches, and there's docks everywhere. So every year, the owner of said campground would, and they're permanently fixed, like they are just fixtures now. So the owner of the campground would take out this, God, I'm sounding more country the more this goes on, would take out the Hiwassee Queen, which was like a 50-foot pontoon boat. And I wish I was exaggerating. I'm not. It was used at one point for tours. So it's a long-ass pontoon boat. And he would drive it to the middle of the river and put on East Tennessee's best fucking fireworks show ever. Morgan can attest to this. I've seen cities like Chattanooga, Knoxville, that they don't put on, entire cities with funds don't put on the show that he did. Like, it would be, there was one time we were wishing he would stop, and they were non-stop, just bam, 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 bam. This man spends $10,000 every year. Like, it's amazing. Except one year, at the at the very beginning of the fireworks show, him and some helpers, we're laughing because she knows what happened. We're all watching. We're all oohing and awing, as you do. And I shouldn't be laughing at this. At the very beginning of this fireworks show, they were using the cardboard tubes that they come in, the fireworks come in, and they're the big ones. So they had them lined up. Well, one of them got knocked over and cartoon style shot into the pile of other fireworks that were on the boat. And mind you, there are other boats in the water actively surrounding this boat just to get closer for some reason. And the fireworks start going off, and they start shooting off the sides of the boat. And then the canopy catches on fire. And you see people, because there's probably 5 people on this pontoon boat, enough to keep the shows going. People are jumping off the sides. They got beer in their hands. They're swimming to shore in the dark. The owner, for the sake of this episode, I will call him John. John goes into the bathroom, because it has like a little bathroom, like a little like metal-sided bathroom on it, because it was used for tours. He just went into the bathroom, waited for there to be a lull, and then he came out and started kicking them off the side. I mean, he's the only one left. He's the last man standing. Everyone else is swimming. A helicopter came, and then, while everyone else bailed, abandoned ship, the boat is on fire. He drove it back to the dock, and they put it out there. They just drove it onto the dock and then they put the fire out. He still does this. This was like 15 years ago. And every year up until that point, we had been joking. I was like, oh, this is the year John's going to blow up the boat. The Hiwassee Queen's going to catch on fire. And then it did. But the attitude hasn't changed. Now we're just like, is he going to do it again? He did.
As someone who, like, became a part of the traditions for a while, I was like, I want to see it blow up.
And what's really funny is now, every now and then, I almost think he does this on purpose, but every now and then, maybe 3 or 4 will shoot off the side. Because he has, like, upgraded to, like, metal tubing that's a little more equipped for that kind of, like, frequency and stuff. Mm-hmm. Because shooting less fireworks is not an option. So,
right.
Every now and then, like, a few will go off the side, and instead of everybody panicking, everyone goes, woo! It's happening again! So those are my...
I mean, no one was hurt.
I mean, I think a couple people got some very minor burns, and were probably very exhausted from swimming all the way to shore. Because it's a good, 100 feet that they had to...
swim in one-handed because they had to hold their beer.
No one lost a beer either. So, like, that's applaudable. That's commendable.
Absolutely. Are you truly an American if you haven't been a part of or have witnessed a fireworks mishap?
Well, I like being a part of it. Zach and I almost caught Mom and Dad's boat on fire because we were shooting them on fire dock. It went straight for it, and we just dove in there and pulled it out. It wasn't a big one, though, thankfully.
Jack has PTSD from fireworks because when he was a puppy, me and a few people that will not be mentioned were shooting off fireworks at the house that I used to live at back in the hometown. Mm-hmm. And it fell over, and the fireworks were, like, shooting, like, into, like, our house and, like, into the hill behind our house and into the field. And poor Jack was, like, running as fast as he could to avoid being fucking obliterated by the fireworks. And one of the people, who I will not name, was so drunk and just thought it was the funniest shit they'd ever seen. And I was like, oh no! Like, we didn't even know what to do. We just stood there and watched it happen.
Chaos. I love it.
Yeah. But he's fine. But every time he hears fireworks, he becomes catatonic. So
poor baby.
And that was 13 years ago.
He doesn't forget. He'll never forget.
He did not forget that trauma.
No.
Well, for 4th of July, I thought I would talk about why we celebrate 4th of July. So everyone's going to get a little American history lesson.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull up my notes. And honestly, Emma, I don't have any pictures.
I saw that. I scrolled down and I was like, yeah, why would you?
You already know everything I'm going to talk about. So most Americans are going to know everything I'm going to talk about today because we're talking about America declaring independence, and I'm going to do a very brief run through of the Revolutionary War, where America declared independence from Great Britain. Yeah. That's the whole reason behind this whole shindig.
Yeah.
All right. So before the war, there were 13 American colonies that had been established over the 17th and 18th centuries for the most part, a couple in the 16th, for a number of reasons, mostly, freedom of religion, work opportunities, just getting out into the big unknown. Yeah. Let's go survive in the wilderness. Whatever.
Funsies.
For funsies. So I guess these are in order. The 13 colonies were New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia.
All right.
And those are all currently states. The first official English settlement was Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. Mm-hmm. But the Americas had been being colonized for a while at this point by the Spanish, the Dutch.
St. Augustine episode. The French. Plugging ourselves.
Yeah. Right. And it would continue to be colonized by a bunch of different European, mostly European countries in the centuries to come. Fast forward to 1754, we have the French and Indian War. And this is really when tensions between the British and the French kind of reached their breaking point. Mm-hmm. Really, the British and the French were they were competing to settle the Ohio River Valley region because it was a very prosperous area. That's kind of, I'm not going to get a lot into this war, but it just caused a lot of conflict. Also, George Washington was 22 and was lieutenant colonel in this war.
What a young whippersnapper.
I know. So 1754, so the French and Indian War ended in the Americas in 1763. It went on for a little while longer, I'm pretty sure, in Europe. Mm-hmm. But there were a lot of leftover tensions still, especially, again, between the British and the French. Well, now Great Britain is broke after this war. So the American colonies are now given new taxes to pay. Before this point, they hadn't been paying any taxes to the British.
Yeah.
I think there's local taxes because that's how you pay for public services, but not to the British. So the Stamp Act of 1765 was passed, which is basically a tax on all printed documents and paper goods. This pissed off people. Well, the colonists were...
Could you imagine, you were out here literally trying to survive, and now all of a sudden you have to pay more money to survive? Yeah. It pisses people off now when things get inflated. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And people were so pissed off about it that British Parliament actually repealed it the following year in 1766 because it caused such a hubbub. But upon repealment of the Stamp Act, Great Britain passed a declaratory act, basically saying we can do what we want and you can't do anything about it. We can pass whatever laws we want.
Who agreed to that? Because it just seems like they're well, I make up the rules here.
It was basically all of Parliament said that.
Oh, Jesus.
You are our colonies.
So you're going to give us money.
Yes, because we're broke from this war that we fought on your territory.
Sounds like a child. I do what I want.
Kind of, yeah. That's kind of the feeling I had too.
Yeah.
So in 1767 and 1768, the Townshend Acts were passed, and they taxed glass, lead, paint, and tea imports. And there were also new rules for customs and harsh punishments for smuggling to bypass those taxes. And the colonies were pissed about the Townshend Acts. And from everything that I was reading, and I think I remember reading, learning this in school, it wasn't so much that the taxation itself pissed people off. It was, say it with me, everyone, no taxation without representation.
Gotta have that representation if you're being taxed.
Absolutely. They had no say in what was being taxed. They had no say in the tax itself.
Yeah.
They were not granted representation in the British Parliament on their behalf.
Yeah, because, they are paying taxes within their own, like you said, their own local government, and they have say in that. They have, systems in place for that. But all the money that's going back, they're well, you're just stealing our money that we need to survive over here because it is hard living over here.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, one of their biggest arguments was that, if you need us to be taxed, let us set those taxes.
Yeah.
If you need money from us, let the colonies set taxes based on our need
and give us some representation. Give us someone.
Right.
We will give you someone to represent us. But no, they wouldn't do that.
Exactly. So boycotts on those above goods started happening, especially on British imports, to protest against the acts. Physical confrontations between the colonists and British authorities started becoming a lot more commonplace. Boston, specifically, agreed to cease importing of British goods, and New York and Philadelphia followed as well. So those port cities are no longer bringing in those British goods. And then the British government responded by sending in the military to make people follow the Townshend Acts. And
I just keep thinking of children playing, and they're I don't want to buy your goods. No, you have to buy my goods. But I don't want to buy them. No, you have no choice. It's the rules.
Yes. So now we're getting into the Boston Massacre of 1770.
Oof.
In February of 1770, a man named Ebenezer Richardson, who was a loyalist, shot and killed an 11-year-old boy named Christopher Snyder, no one really knows, after being accosted by a group of, quote, colonial radicals. I've seen things where it was a group of boys. I've seen things where it was a group of men. Tensions came to a head between civilians and British soldiers following the death of this boy and his funeral.
Yeah.
And on March 5th, so that was in February, March 5th, so several, like a week or more later, the confrontation finally, like, reached its breaking point. So civilians were accosting and assaulting the soldiers stationed at a place, I can't remember where, but they were, like, throwing rocks at them, they were shoving them, yelling at them. And one soldier accidentally fired his musket. And then the rest of the soldiers fired their muskets. And 5 people died as a result of this violence. 3 people at the scene, and then 2 later died of their injuries.
Wow.
So now you have deaths caused by British soldiers. Again, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about all this because we have like 10 years to cover really quickly. So if you would like to learn more about the Boston Massacre, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that happens after the soldiers all go to trial. There's a whole big to-do. So we're skipping forward a few years to 1773 when the Tea Act was passed. This was the final straw.
Yeah.
Great Britain passed the Tea Act. It was not a new tax. Like, there was already a tax on tea from the Townshend Acts, but it basically created a monopoly for the East India Company to almost exclusively have a tea industry in the colonies.
Yeah.
Like, their imports. And people were pissed about this. And they were like, this is just a way for you to, like, get more money from taxes because now we can't have tea from anywhere else. It has to be tea from this British company that's taxed. And it also cut out local tea merchants. So there's just a lot.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Philadelphia, New York, Charleston refused to even interact with the British East India Company merchants. I think it was New York that basically, like, made them turn their ship around. And in Philadelphia and Charleston didn't even unload the product from the ship.
Could you imagine, because I'm sure a lot of those contracted sailors are just trying to make a living, and then now they can't make a living because of the governments. So they're even put in, like, a bad position because of this monopoly. And I'm sure like there's some big head honcho guy back over in London or wherever that's like rolling in the dough from this deal, but like the people getting paid and doing the work, they're put in a hard spot.
Yeah. And especially Boston has always been like the gung-ho, like we won't do what you tell me.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Yeah.
So the governor of Boston refused to let the tea cargo ships leave. Like, they, like, made them stay in the port, but the colonists refused to, like, get the tea off the ship and refused to let it in the harbor.
Yeah.
I think I spoke about it in my George Washington episode a while ago, but the Boston Tea Party happened. Americans know the Boston Tea Party. A bunch of colonists threw tea into the harbor.
Got all the sea life really jazzed up from the caffeine.
So in 1774, the Intolerable or the Coercive Acts were passed. And that was the name of these acts given by the colonists. The British didn't were like, now we're passing the Intolerable Acts. That's not what happened. So the British Parliament passed 5 laws mostly in retaliation of Boston's reaction to the Stamp Act, Townshend Acts, and the Tea Party. Yeah. Because again, Boston, that was where all the shenanigans happened. 4 specifically punished Massachusetts, like targeted, but the acts affected all of the colonies. So the first one was the Administration of Justice Act, which meant if British officials were charged with a crime, their case could be held in a separate colony or in Great Britain. So they wouldn't have like local justice. The Boston Port Act closed Boston's port. and prevented any trade happening. So, like, a lot of the colonies were, like, sending in their own goods to help support Massachusetts and Boston because they had no way of getting things in to the state. And they were, like, sending money, sending food, sending supplies. So the colonies were really sticking together to, like, help everyone through this. The Quartering Act of 1774, British troops could be housed anywhere, including private residences, which people were not happy about at all. The Massachusetts Government Act had the royal governor given more power and limited the power of local officials. And then there's the Quebec Act, which, and this is about Canada, and Canada was also a British territory. But the Quebec Act extended the borders of the province in a way that restricted the westward expansion of larger colonies like Virginia. And that is from AmericanHistoryCentral.com. That was a direct quote. So, like I said, colonists tried to support Boston. They protested against the British, and the British responded by beefing up their military response. And this led to the meeting of the First Continental Congress in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in September 1774, where representatives from all 13 colonies met. They sent grievances to King George III about the unfair taxation and trade laws that were being passed in their colonies. I feel like I wrote about more lead up, but I guess I didn't. Anyway, we're jumping forward to 1775. More and more tensions are going on, like, throughout this year. But the Revolutionary War officially begins on April 19th, 1775, when a company of British troops were going to Concord, Massachusetts to capture stockpiled weapons. The night before that, you hear about Paul Revere's Midnight Ride.
Right.
He wasn't the only one. There was a lot of other writers, William Daw, Samuel Prescott, others. Colonists were warned that the British are coming.
The British are coming. The British are coming.
The British are coming. So they were prepared for the British coming into Concord, Massachusetts, and started fighting in what became known as the battles of Lexington and Concord. And that's the official start. Like, there's an armed conflict. The shot heard around the world.
Yeah.
Happened in Lexington, and there we go. War has begun. The Second Continental Congress soon after voted to establish a Continental Army with George Washington as the leading general and commander-in-chief.
How old was George Washington at this point? Still?
See, this is 1775, and he was 22 in 1754. So he's in his 40s.
Okay.
He was like 43.
I still can't imagine him in his 20s. I don't know why. Like, imagining George Washington in his 20s is like
a young man.
He was born an adult. He was born like a 40-year-old man. It had to have been.
That's really funny. Yeah. Like, well, all the paintings you see of him, he's like at least in his 40s.
You never see a baby George Washington.
No.
Nah.
So June 17th, 1775 is the Battle of Bunker Hill, and this is the first official battle of the Revolutionary War. Very, very bloody conflict.
Yeah.
And it was after this one, both sides realized there's no going back to peaceful talks after this.
No.
Like, before that, there was some, like, maybe we can resolve this, maybe we can talk about it. Not after the Battle of Bunker Hill.
War was ugly back then. So ugly.
It was
You just
brutal.
literally stand in a field and shoot at each other.
Mm-hmm. So this occurred near Boston. Great Britain technically won and the colonists lost, but the Americans were very resilient in this battle, and Great Britain had a ton of losses. They lost almost half.
Holy shit.
They had a total of 1,054 casualties, including killed and injured. And the Americans only had 441.
Holy shit. How did that happen?
The Americans fought very hard.
Yeah, well,
and it was really when they were like, okay, like, we're not going to go down so easy. And the British are like, oh shit, they're not going to go down so easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And other conflicts are occurring throughout the colonies. I'm not going to talk about every battle either, because you're not taking a test.
Yeah.
So, the vote for independence. Thomas Paine published Common Sense in early 1776, which really sparked the rebel movement and push for independence.
Yeah.
In 1776, the Second Continental Congress convened again in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Richard Henry Lee of Virginia said, quote, "Resolved, that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved." And he said this on June 6th. So the Continental Convention started engaging in talks about an official resolution to draft a declaration of independence, but not everyone came to an agreement. Some states were like, I don't know. Like, everyone wanted independence, but it was like the way it was going to go about, what was going to be said, kind of the nitty-gritty details. Thomas Jefferson was finally selected he wasn't the only one to write it, but he was the main drafter of the declaration. Right. And he wrote the first rough draft between June 12th and 27th of 1776. It was only like 15 days. He wrote the first draft of the Declaration of Independence.
Damn. That's a lengthy document, too.
Mm-hmm. It is. So July 1st, the Continental Congress met again, and 12 of the 13 colonies adopted Lee's resolution for independence, with New York abstaining from voting at this time. They had some issues with the way it was written, so technically, like, on the 2nd, it was officially adopted, but it went through revisions, like, between the 2nd and the 3rd. Yeah. And on the 4th of July, it was officially adopted the afternoon. 9 colonies voted in favor of independence. Pennsylvania and South Carolina actually voted against. And in Delaware and New York did not vote.
Okay.
But it's been declared majority rules.
Right.
John Hancock was the president of the Continental Congress, and he signed first. That's why his signature's so big on it. Yeah. And right in the middle.
And that's also why there's a phrase like, "Let me get your John Hancock on this." Like,
it's slang for your signature.
Your signature. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we all know, well, Americans know the preamble, quote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness."
You know, I couldn't remember that, but in my head, I was saying it as you were saying it, so I think maybe it's still in there somewhere. We had to memorize this as, like, 9-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. What is the preamble of the Declaration of Independence? What is the first, like, 2 or 3 lines or 5 lines or whatever, the Constitution?
"We, the people of the United States of America."
In order to form a more perfect union. Anyway, this is about the Constitution. So, like I said, July 2nd is when the Second Continental Congress officially voted to declare independence, and July 4th is when the final document was approved.
Right.
And most of the delegates actually weren't able to sign until a month later on August 2nd, because they had to, like, ride their horse up from, like, Virginia or Georgia to to Philadelphia.
You mean they couldn't just, like, fax it? Like,
no. They couldn't just hop on a plane and take a quick ride up to Philadelphia.
Come on.
Not even an email.
Not even snail mail.
They didn't even have telegrams.
Oh my God.
Apparently there are 24 copies of the Declaration of Independence out there. Two of which are at the Library of Congress.
Somebody had to sit there and, like, rewrite that bitch.
Well, they did have a printing press.
Oh, they did? Good. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so they were able to, like, copy it.
So is the one that we see, like, the original, and then there's copies? Okay.
Yeah. I think, like, the printed, like, copies. Like, the one with the signature didn't have to go out across the colonies. Right. Just the Declaration itself.
Cool.
On July 9th, 1776, Washington has the Declaration read before his army. And also, that same month, 34,000 British troops make their way to New York to stop the uprising.
Oh, boy. Mm-hmm. Oh, the British are coming now.
Yeah, they are. So this is going to be pretty quick. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail, but this is going to be a quick summary of the rest of the war. So I've already talked about the battles of Trenton and Princeton when I talked about Washington crossing the Delaware that happened in December and January of 1776, or December 1776, January 1777. The British were trying to cut off New England from the rest of the colonies in 1777. Mm-hmm. The British retook Ticonderoga in July of that year under General John Burgoyne. General Howe, who's another British general, went to intercept Washington in the Chesapeake Bay area, and this left Burgoyne alone, and the British suffered a major loss at the battles of Saratoga in August and October, led by General Horatio Gates.
What a cool
And then
name.
Burgoyne surrendered on October 17th.
Okay.
That year. So the victory at Saratoga convinced the French to stop secretly helping the rebels and outright helping the rebels.
They're like, okay, we need to come to the forefront.
Yes. Well, because they weren't really sure how it was going to go at this point,
Right.
but the French hated the British because they had just finished fighting a war. So they're like, well, we'll help their enemies. They're our allies now. But the French didn't officially join until a little while later, but they did start like helping, like funding and providing goods and stuff and weapons. In the winter of 1777, Washington's army winters at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, with the British just 20 miles away. I didn't realize they're only 20 miles away.
Wow.
But it was the dead of winter, so there was not going to be any fighting.
No.
They're like, we're not going to risk that.
It's too cold.
It's way too cold. While there, Washington's troops were trained by Baron Friedrich von Steuben, who was a Prussian officer, and Marquis de Lafayette, who was a French officer. And really, they got whipped into shape for realsies while at Valley Forge. The French officially ally with the American colonists in February 1778 and officially declare war against Britain that June.
Okay.
Spain joins the fight in 1779 because they became allied with France through like their own treaty thing. It's not really relevant to this. But it's really ironic because the American Revolution helped inspire revolution in France and in Spanish territories. Like a lot of like South American and like Mexican territories rebelled against Spain because of the American Revolution. Yeah. And then the whole French Revolution and all that. Inspired by the American Revolution.
Well, and you think about places that were already occupied, like St. Augustine. I just keep thinking about like the fort that was in Spain's possession. And then during the Revolutionary War, it was in British possession. So it was on the wrong side of the war. And it was just lots of shit, lots of moving parts happening around this time.
Yeah, it's all kind of going on. Washington attacked Henry Clinton's troops at the Battle of Monmouth, which had no winner on June 28, 1778, which is another pretty big battle. And another battle in Rhode Island also didn't go very well. And the North essentially entered a stalemate. Okay. And then the South, a lot of stuff was going on, not really so great. Several mutinies had occurred. Benedict Arnold, who had been a great American hero, defected to the British.
Oh, for
So now, like, Benedict Arnold is a very famous American traitor. I remember learning about him in school as well.
Yeah,
and actually, there was like
name sounds very familiar.
There was actually a decree that nobody in the United States, like, I don't know if it was a law, but like nobody in the United States could be named Benedict because of this.
Could you imagine being so hated that no one in the United States can be named after you?
Not even named after you, just named your name.
Named your name. It'd be like, we hate Morgan so much. Fuck all Morgans.
No one else can be named Morgan.
Yeah. She was so bad.
The British seized control of Georgia and Charleston, South Carolina, which is a major port in the South. Several battles happened, and the Americans finally won the Battle of Cowpen, South Carolina on January 17th, 1781. Mm-hmm. So, again, a lot of battles going on. In the fall of 1781, General Nathaniel Greene's forces had pushed back General Charles Cornwallis's men to Yorktown, Virginia. And again, General Cornwallis is big British general. Nathaniel Greene was a big American general.
Yeah.
Very famous. So while Greene was pushing Cornwallis back, Washington swooped in with French General Jean-Baptiste Rochambeau. Mm-hmm. They basically flanked the British, with Washington attacking by land and Rochambeau attacking by sea. And Cornwallis eventually surrendered on October 9th, 1781. And this is it's not the end to the war, but it's seen as the British as a whole basically surrendered.
It's the beginning of the end.
Yeah. It is. So the British left Charleston and Savannah, Georgia in 1782, which marked the final end of the war. So it took about another year. And there were still British troops stationed in New York as well. But 1782 is finally the official end of the war. And in the following year, on September 3rd, 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, which had Great Britain formally recognized American independence. And then they had separate treaties with France and with Spain. So yeah, that is a very brief history and summary of the American Revolution.
Ta-da! And now we get hammered.
Yeah, really. So, different celebrations of July 4th. John Adams, who was the second president of the United States, actually thought that Independence Day should be celebrated on July 2nd.
Yeah.
Because that's the day it was actually voted on. And he actually refused to celebrate the 4th of July.
Did he celebrate the 2nd of July?
I think so, but he was like the only one. The first big celebration of the 4th of July was in 1777. So the following year, while the war was actively going on. And this is a quote from military.com. Quote, "People set off fireworks, built bonfires, lit candles in their windows, and lined the avenues with joyful shouts. A band played celebratory tunes, and artillery fire from colorfully decorated vessels on the Delaware River filled the air with booms and gun smoke." Unquote.
So nothing changed.
Nothing's changed. Also, everyone got real fucking drunk, which also has not changed.
I mean, how many 4th of Julys have you shot guns?
What was it at Christmas?
Yeah. It's kind of just like a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like any
But I know a lot of people that would, like, shoot guns for 4th of July. We mostly just did fireworks.
Yeah. But I feel like it's...
But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I definitely know people that just shoot guns for fun on 4th of July.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a random Tuesday for us over here.
Thomas Jefferson was the first sitting president to celebrate Independence Day in 1801, where he held festivities at the White House. Also, 3 presidents have died on July 4th.
That's weird.
John Adams and Thomas Jefferson both died on July 4th, 1826, on the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
That's wild.
It is wild. They died like hours apart. Like 2 hours apart. Like, it's crazy.
Do you think the first one was like, nope, you gotta come too?
Yeah.
Yoink.
And then James Monroe died on July 4th, 1831.
Weird.
So, like, 5 years later. It became an unpaid federal holiday on June 28th, 1870, and finally became a federal paid holiday in 1938.
That took a long time.
It took a really long time. It took, like, 150 years for it to become a federal holiday.
It's
a federal
paid
holiday.
It's only the day the United States became independent,
became the United States. Yeah.
Not important.
So different traditions. Fireworks.
Of course.
Concerts. Parades. Yes. Sparklers. Those little tiny little snaps that you throw at people.
Oh, the I call them poppers. The pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The kids love those.
Yeah. You always throw them. Just throw them at each other's toes.
Yeah.
Because you're running barefoot on the asphalt because it's July.
Yeah. I mean, that's we were in the gravel.
Yeah.
We didn't wear shoes in the summer.
No. It was too hot.
Yeah.
Make your feet all sweaty.
Right. It's gross.
The Declaration of Independence is often read aloud. Cannons and muskets are fired. You know.
Yeah.
Drinking is a long-standing tradition since the beginning.
Any reason to get drunk.
Yeah. Barbecues, bonfires, yard games. Gotta play your cornhole while everyone's gathered. Gotta wear your red, white, and blue.
Of course.
That's the one day of the year you can wear all three colors and not be made fun of.
Yeah. Well, people do it anyway.
Yeah. And just people spending time outdoors, wanting to be outside. I mean, it's July. So.
Yeah.
And then I have some fun facts.
Let's hit me with those. I was literally just thinking the other day that we haven't done a fun facts segment in a long time, and I'm so glad you did it.
Yes, I just have a couple.
Okay.
But just a couple of fun facts. So, on the day that, on July 4th, 1776, 2.5 million people lived in the colonies. So, it was a lot of people.
Holy shit.
On the day, again, on the day that the Declaration was finalized, the United States motto, E pluribus unum. $5 if you know what it means, Emma.
We're all one? What?
Close.
Yeah.
It's very close. Out of many, one.
Okay. All right.
You get about tree fitty.
Tree fitty.
So it was suggested on that day, which I
Nice.
thought was cool.
I love that.
Yeah. More than $300 million in fireworks are imported into the U.S. every year.
Yeah. I mean, I've been passing, we're, almost a week away from the 4th upon recording this. And I think just going to town, I think I see two or three fireworks tents. And then we have the permanent one that's in town.
It just says fireworks.
It's fireworks. And my friend works there now.
And one more fun fact. On July 4th every year, an average of 155 million hot dogs are eaten.
That's so many hot dogs. Okay, so as of 2023, I want to... How many firework-related hospital visits do you think happened on July 4th in the United States?
Too many.
10,200. Yeah.
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 Honestly, I'm surprised it's not more.
Yeah, so be careful out there. Don't blow your fingers off.
Yeah. And if you do, hopefully they can reattach them like Ty and her skit.
Poor Ty.
No, I've met people who like have had I don't know them personally, but just in passing I've met people who only have like 4 fingers or only 1 finger and the rest are stumps, and it's like, oh, what happened? Oh, I held on too long to a firework.
Yeah, they're explosives.
Yeah. they can seriously injure you and or kill you.
Yeah. You don't do that. And there were lots of people growing up that would play like bottle rocket tag.
Mm-hmm.
Where you would shoot bottle rockets at each other. Don't do that. That could go in your eyeball. That would suck.
Sorry, I'm looking up
Oh, you're good.
fatalities just as a public service announcement.
Oh, yeah. PSA. Don't be dumb.
Okay. So this is from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, which is a government website. Has a little pamphlet about fireworks injuries and deaths. It's a 2023 report. So this is a public service announcement for all y'all who are shooting fireworks. In 2023, 9,700 people were treated in ERs and 8 deaths occurred.
Damn. Not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. 42% of the injuries were burns, 19% in the eyes, 22% in the head, face, and ears, 35% in the hands and fingers, and 11% the trunk or other, and 8% on the legs. So maybe wear some like safety goggles and maybe some gloves or something.
Yeah, so if you blow your fingers off, they will be contained within the gloves. You won't have to drunkenly go find your fingers.
Apparently 700 of those injuries were from sparklers. 800 were from firecrackers and 700 were sparklers.
Well, I mean, kids are whipping those things around.
Yeah.
Get smacked with one of those. That sucks.
So, Yeah, be safe out there.
Have fun, though.
Don't pull a John and catch your boat on fire.
Yeah. And if you do catch your boat on fire, I don't know whether I should tell you to drive it back to the dock or not. I don't know. Assess the situation.
With a bimini just like roaring above you.
I wish we had pictures. This was like the mid 2000s, so camera phones weren't what they were, or it would have been all over TikTok. I mean, it was a glorious sight. It was something to behold. But yeah, what are you doing for the 4th this year? Where will you be?
So I'm probably just going to chill at home on the day of the 4th. But that weekend, my parents are having a little shindig at their house. My parents bought a new house last year, and they have a really nice pool. So they're going to have me and my sister and the sister that lives here, not the one in Scotland, and their friends and stuff. We're just going to chill and probably have burgers and hot dogs. And they're not going to shoot off fireworks, but I think there'll be enough around the neighborhood to watch.
Yeah, there should be.
So what about you, Emma? What are you doing for 4th of July?
We will be in St. Augustine. So this Saturday we're leaving, and we'll be going Saturday to Saturday. And so we're going to go, I haven't done this since I was a little kid, but we are going to go to the St. Augustine fireworks show, and they put on a really good one. Hopefully no boats explode, but yeah, they have like the Bridge of Lions, and that you typically hang out around the Bridge of Lions, and then they shoot them off. I think it's in the water too, so because that just kind of makes sense. But yeah, so it'll be me and the Hubs and the kids and Mama and my uncle and my uncle's kids, so my cousins and all 5 of their kids. So there's going to be, and then my sister-in-law. There's going to be 8 kids, like 9 and under.
Oh, wow.
So send your thoughts and prayers for keeping them all together.
Also, apparently the biggest 4th of July fireworks show is the Macy's show in New York City.
They would do that.
They have the Thanksgiving Day parade, and they've got the fireworks show.
Yeah, they can't be... Where does one shoot fireworks in New York City?
Well, there's like ocean. They're on like the Hudson River. They're right on the ocean.
True.
So
I guess either I still wouldn't want to do it in like what?
I wonder if they go to like Ellis Island, or not Ellis Island, Liberty Island, and like with like the Statue of Liberty like in the background, like the fireworks. And
if they don't, they are missing a really good opportunity. Yeah. I mean, that just screams America.
Fireworks with the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Just like, whoa!
Yeah, she gets like front row seats. Unless they shoot them behind her.
I was just about to say, unless you're behind her. But it's a great photo op.
Yeah, seriously.
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Yeah,
Happy America Day.
Have fun.
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah, call an Uber. Call a friend.
Don't pull a Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. You might ruin your world tour.
It's the funniest shit to me.
And trust me, the cop's not going to know who you are either if they don't know who Justin Timberlake is.
Oh my God. Oh boy. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. That's only happened actually one time in my life where the cop didn't know who I was, but he knew who my brother was and let me go. So funny. And we lived in small towns, so like chances are they're not going to let you go.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, woohoo.
Yeah, that was good.
Socials?
Yeah. Facebook.
Ill-Equipped History podcast group and page.
Instagram.
At Ill-Equipped History.
Gmail.
ill-equippedhistory@gmail.com.
TikTok.
At Ill-Equipped History. You honestly haven't posted one in a while.
I've been so busy.
Me too.
So painfully
I've been busy and I've been sick.
Yeah. I've been like, I think about it, and then I've had 2 weeks of, by the time y'all hear this, I've had 2 weeks of like work training that it's very time consuming. The children are with me all the time. And I will do everything I can to get one out there soon. But
I could also make a TikTok.
You could.
Not be useless.
You are not
I have
useless.
access to it as well.
I'm pretty sure you have edited the last like 3 bonus episodes, so you are definitely not useless. It's getting like split up evenly. But my son's getting his tonsils taken out on the 10th. So I might have a little bit more downtime hanging out with him. So y'all might get rapid fire TikToks coming your way soon. Patreon. Speaking of Patreon.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Oh, yeah. You do it.
Patreon.com/illequippedhistory.
And we have an episode coming out tomorrow.
Woo!
July the 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to think about it. I was like, calculus meme, what day is it? I was like, I'm not ready.
We should really record that.
We should finish researching it and record it.
I should start researching it. Y'all, when we say we're ill-equipped, I am telling you, sometimes we're a month in advance, and sometimes we are squeezing these bitches in. But you know what? I hope you can't tell which ones are struggling or not.
Yeah, we try to have all of our episodes be very high quality. Well,
as high quality
on myself.
Yeah,
what I can manage at any given time.
Well, we try our best.
We are ill-equipped, but we do try,
and we do have full-time jobs and families and obligations. So,
and our health.
Yeah. Well, you don't. But
no, I don't.
You don't. You have ill health.
If the pattern is going to continue, you're due for some kind of knee or ankle.
No,
or
don't put that juju on me. It was the day after it was literally July 4th. It was the July the 3rd of last year when the slip and slide incident happened. And if y'all don't know what incident that is, go back a year ago. I think it was like the beer episode somewhere. I know I couldn't walk during the beer episode. So, go listen to that to get the full story. But let's just say I don't do slip and slides anymore. It ruined my life for 6 entire weeks. And I just now can move my ankle in a circle and it not feel a little achy. So maybe.
Well, I'm glad it's mostly back to normal.
Yeah. Well, then I hurt the other one, a month ago. That's gotten better.
That's good.
And I haven't had to chase my dog up a mountain, or I've avoided poison ivy. So
I'm so proud of you.
I've put myself in like a theoretical bubble. Like, just maybe if I don't do anything, I won't hurt myself. Why?
It's because you've been in your training and you haven't been able to go on these misadventures.
Guys, I did go on a misadventure yesterday.
Oh, what happened?
Okay, so Shelby and I shout out Shelby, sister-in-law. We took our first of, I'm sure many, because I want you to come on one, canoe trips yesterday. And we had our new friend, I'll just say her name, Jenna. Hi, Jenna. And so it's my daughter met a friend, and now we're friends with her parents. It's great. She brought her paddleboard, and we went on like a 5-hour canoe ride because we stopped in at the new place with the cave. So we pull in. Have you been to the cave yet?
No, I've been on the canoe trip once or twice. Yes. But I haven't been to the cave.
Okay, we'll take you to the cave. Well, actually, maybe. So, okay, let's see what happened was we pull up to the cave, and we've climbed in this thing before, but it's very steep, and you have to climb. Like, I highly suggest shoes. I have climbed it barefoot before. I don't suggest it. It's just muddy. You need the grip. Yeah. So Jenna and I get up there, and Shelby, I can't really help her, so I'm like, hey, we're going to go on in. We'll, you just come on up whenever you get up. So Jenna and I, we're going on only her flashlight on her phone. And we go to the back part of the cave, and Jenna and I are just like walking around, and she like panorama shines it around, and then we hear hissing like an animal going like at us.
Oh,
it wasn't a snake, but we were like, we both screamed. We're like, ah! And then we ran out. We like slid down. It was like, get her! And Shelby's like, what's happening? She never made it up, but we just like escaped. We were like, no. I've been in this cave like 5 times. There's never been anything other than like empty beer bottles and in
Wow.
this cave, and there was an animal, and we got accosted. So
well,
maybe
I'm
I
glad
won't
you
take you
listened
to the cave.
animal.
Yeah. We were like, okay, bye. We didn't investigate. We did not do like any white person in a horror movie. Like, what's that? No, we bounced. We out.
You did
Bye.
exactly what you were supposed to do.
See you later.
I'm just imagining Shelby's perspective of her like trying to figure out how to get up this cave, and then she just hears screaming and sees you guys like booking it like out of the cave. Like, oh.
I almost jumped on top of her. I was like, bye. She's like, no, wait. I'm here. I'm like, get out of the way.
Oh man.
Oh, and it was funny. It was, she's like, what was it? We don't know. We're not asking questions.
We're not just sticking around.
No. And that was the first, like, 20 minutes of our canoe trip.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you had plenty to talk about on the way back.
And then the last, we saw lots of wildlife, lots of fish. We counted 25 tires in the river. Oh, so people stop throwing their tires. That. Stop it.
That's awful.
And there at the last mile, we're going downriver, but the wind was blowing so hard, it was pushing us upriver, so we had to work really hard.
Oh my God. And you have to, that's a lot because that's a strong current.
It is. It was a very strong current, and it was like 2 o'clock by then. Like, my back still hurts because I'm old. We might have ordered some canoes or canoe seats with back support on.
Oh,
because we're old. They're cushioned.
Love that.
Yeah. So, I guess if something hisses at you, I think the only thing I can figure out is it was probably like, I think beavers hiss and otters hiss. And it sounded of that size. Muskrats do not hiss. We Googled it. We were like, what hisses and could be in a cave that's only accessible by river? Yeah.
Are there? Well, I guess there are river otters. I've just never seen a river otter.
They're so cute. They're utterly adorable.
I can't think of another pun.
You ought to see them. I ought to stop these jokes.
Why I ought to? Out.
Oh, they're for real though. They are cute. They like hold hands. Cute. And float.
You know, I love watching the ones at the aquarium.
They're always asleep when I go. I've never seen them in the aquarium because they're always fucking asleep. Like, what time do I need to go when they're not napping?
They get all tuckered out swimming all day.
I know. It's so hard being them.
Little otters.
Oh, they're sweet.
All right. Well, we should probably let these people
Oh, my God. Seriously. Okay, so sign off. Don't play with fireworks. Be safe about it. And don't go into river caves.
Yeah. Don't drink and drive. I'm being serious. Mama Morgan's coming out. Yeah. Do not pull a Justin Timberlake.
Shit, if you're in the East Tennessee area, just call us. We'll come pick you up.
Yeah.
Well, I won't.
Middle Tennessee.
I'll be in Florida. So if you're in the Florida area, call me.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.